start with Matty English. A great bit of business for the club to get him tied down long term as well, another 4 years out of him.
Yeah.
His best years yet to come.
Absolutely, and the rest. He's a pleasure to coach. He's been a pleasure to coach, and he's been a pleasure to have around the place in terms of the first team. But even from my point of view, when I've coached him at the academies, he's just improved every single year, and he's a person we can really build a culture of a club around, and that's the first thing, because he's a good human being, and he just gets it. He just gets the sport, and it's what we want. We want good rugby league players. I've always preached, from even a young age as a coach, I've always preached that I don't necessarily develop back rowers, standoffs, fullbacks. You develop rugby league players, and the smarter the rugby league player, the better the player makes, and Matty's definitely one of them. It's obviously there's been a fair bit of interest in him. There's been a fair bit of interest surrounding quite a number of our younger players and our academy players too. So we're doing our best to tie them down to long-term deals, because I think like I say, if you can have the spine of your squad, or the majority of your squad have come through your systems, then it just makes for a successful team and squad.
Being a fairly local lad as well, it's a great advertisement to the kids in the academy that if you get your chance and you take it, the club will reward you and look after you.
Definitely, we always preach that. Yeah. We always preach that, and we'll acknowledge and recognise hard work, and that was the first thing that Matty's done. He's worked hard. As soon as he's walked through the door, he's worked hard, and he works hard every single day. There's a fair bit of talent to go with it, but on that 10-point bullet list of things that you need to do well, 3 out of the 10 are work hard, and Matty ticks all those boxes. So I'm really happy. I'm really happy for him. I'm really happy for his family. I'm really pleased that he's chosen to stay with us, because there was some significant interest, and the more games he played, the more interest there would have been. So I'm pretty pleased that we've done that, and we've acted pretty swiftly on it.
The other golden question, I guess, Mr. Wolford, any update? Is it likely to be here for the weekend, or will it come too soon?
Not as yet. Maybe. I'm waiting for I said I'd give him a call as soon as training's done, but get this out of the way first. But he might have a little bit of information for me, but right now I'm not too sure.
He's obviously, when he does arrive, he's coming into a camp that's probably markedly different to the one he was expected to come into. Everyone must be in great spirits at the minute after 3 wins in a row.
Yeah, it's a good habit to get into, isn't it? It's a good habit to get into, and it makes coming to work a lot easier, and you don't mind putting the extra hours in when you're winning. It's been tough. It's been tough the previous month for everyone, and we've knuckled down. We've worked hard. We've made some changes, and we've got some players back too. So that upturn of events is. I just think it's made for a much better working environment, and yeah, he comes into a better working environment. He comes into a much more upbeat place, and when you enjoy coming to work, that's when you see benefits on the training field and on the playing field. So hopefully, long may that continue. Really.
Are you likely to get anyone else on in? They're slowly coming back at you. Anyone else expected for Friday?
I've just named the squad, and you'll see Leroy Cudjoe's named in the squad. So we're as excited about anyone as with Leroy coming back in with a potential start. He's trained really well. He is. I guess he's super critical of himself and what Leroy doesn't want to do. He doesn't want to be underdone. But I just keep saying, mate, you've ticked all the boxes in terms of a medical point of view. You've ticked all the boxes in terms of a conditioning and S&C point of view. You're available for selection from every department at the club. But Leroy, being Leroy, is his own worst critic, and he's kind of debating whether he's going to be ready or not. So we've just done a field session. I'm going to have a bit of a chat with him now, a bit of a chat with the staff. But all being well, Leroy will feature.
I mean, it's not just the player of Leroy's ability to get back, you get your captain back as well. Just psychologically, it must just give everyone a huge lift to have him back out there.
Absolutely, especially with the momentum that we've got going at the minute. We've tried to give debuts, we've tried to acknowledge milestones, Paul plus 300, and all of this emotional buy-in and this emotional stuff that it's significant. You know, this week we can we can talk about Leroy, and everyone sees him, and he's, you know, not only in his physical stature, but his stature in terms of his what he's done in the sport, and what he's done in the sport, and what he's done for this club. We get a real leader of men. We get a real leader by actions, and just seeing his name on the team sheet will be a real plus for us. So we'll make a decision in the next sort of 24 hours, but he's trained really well.
Results, not just including yourself but elsewhere over the league over the last few weeks, have really bunched it up at the bottom. Yeah. Just how big is Friday, obviously, with them being 8th, and the opportunity for you to go ahead of them. Have you spoke about that internally, the opportunity?
We have. We're not going to be naive. We're not going to. It's really difficult to look at that league table at times, and I've said in the past that I don't think it's where we deserve to be when we're on, and seeing that we haven't been on, we've had a number of factors to take into account down to our form, and you have to discuss it. You have to be honest, and I've been honest as I can be with the playing group and everybody else. And I like those discussions because it just gives you a bit of perspective, and it gives you accountability. And if you look at our next 4, 5, 6 fixtures, we play teams in and around us, especially the next couple. So we're really excited for the challenge. I can't tell you how excited I am, and how excited the leadership group are, and the rest of the boys. We've got a really big opportunity. You know, we roll into the Salford game full of confidence, but at the same time, our record against Salford over the last 5 years is significantly poor. I did a little bit of homework and research on that over the last. Well, I haven't had much time since I got back from Magic and whatnot, but I think our record over the last 5 years, over the last 5 seasons, bearing in mind we haven't made the 8 once in the 5 years, they've made the 8 once in the last 5 years. So if you go off league form, you know, we've been above them consistently, but we haven't beaten them consistently. I think we've won 4 of 13 or 4 of 14, something like that, which isn't good enough. Which isn't good enough when, especially, you know, they've been in and around us the last 2 years. So it's something that we've spoken about. It's a bit of a, I don't know. It's a bit of a blip on our copybook, I guess, and it's something that we are hoping to address this Friday. At the same time, I think it's down to a little bit of lack of respect for Salford over the previous 2, 3, 4, 5 years. And for me, I've got a lot of time for Ian Watson, Martin Gleeson, Willie Poaching. I think they're good coaches. I think they've got a decent playing group. I've got a lot of time for Greg Brown, the head of S&C, and you know, whereas the squad might not be as strong and as deep as some are, and I know they've got a few injuries, but it's not a squad or a team that we will be underselling at all, and we will be going all out in terms of our preparation to have our best performance on Friday night.
Just finally from me, you mentioned Magic there. One surprise in the team on Sunday was Aaron Murphy going in at back row. Showed up very well. Is there the option there for him to continue in that role this week? Definitely.
I mean, there's a reason that we put him there, because we think he's capable, and he just, I don't really have to talk about his performance. You saw his performance. It's something that we've had in our minds for a little while now, and it's something that Aaron is, I don't know, he's maybe getting bored on the wing. He doesn't have to do enough, or definitely in the centres he gets bored, I know that. And in his, I guess, just the evolution of Aaron Murphy, he's a big man. He's not the scrawny fullback that came to us from Wakefield. He's 103, 104 kilos. Great defender, and I'm not just talking tackler. He's a great one-on-one tackler, but he's a great defender in terms of how he reads the game, how he maps off leads, how he acknowledges getting man-on-man and stuff like that. So, and at the same time, you saw his offensive capabilities too. He's a good line runner, he's a good lead runner, he's a good support player. He's, he's pretty much all you could want from a back row. So, again, Dale Ferguson won't be far off. Ollie Roberts won't be far off. And we've got a few forwards who won't be far off too, and middlemen in terms of Daniel Smith, Michael Lawrence. So a few people coming back, and it's nice to pick a team when you've got a few options.
Are there any other changes to the squad, Chris? You mentioned Leroy's in there.
So Leroy's in. From the 19-man squad, Tyler Dickinson is out. Daniel Smith is in. That's just not a like for like, but that's a front row for a front row. And Sam Wood is out, and Leroy Cudjoe is in from the 19 from Magic, so they're the only 2 changes.
Just on Aaron, isn't that he's keen to do the actual
He's a bit daft, isn't he? Yeah, he wants to play in the forwards.
It does suit his game.
It does suit his game. He, it's something we've discussed for probably 18 months, Dave. Me and Aaron, and we've had a couple of head coaches come and go, but me and Aaron always have good discussion about rugby league, and sometimes he can come across as if he's not that bothered and he's a bit flippant, but he cares a lot about his job and his sport and his club, and he's got a lot of personal pride. And I tell you what, he not only how he plays the game, but we talk about the Leroy Cudjoe effect in terms of it enhances the team, the group, the squad, the leadership. Aaron Murphy is very similar, not necessarily from a talk and speech and Churchillian type words that come out of his mouth, but just his effort, his sheer effort on the field. And it's definitely something that me and the rest of the staff acknowledge, and it's we really appreciate it when people put the team first, and Aaron Murphy's certainly one of them. He puts the team first by playing in a position where he thinks will suit the team most.